I had a slight change of scenery today on the creaky chair in the bedroom amongst my musicals wall. But there is a point to this. There is a reason I am sat here, so bear with me. Because, and this is a bit of a throwback to the 30-day challenge in 30 minutes blog that I did before, I'm about to make a controversial statement, so settle down and settle in. When I say a controversial statement, I don't mean I'm going to say something racist or say that I support Donald Trump or that I voted for Boris Johnson. That's not what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is that it is my firm belief that the greatest and best, most accurate, awe-inspiring musical film of the last 15 years, say, was directed by Clint Eastwood. I'm gonna let that sink in. Yeah, Dirty Harry is the greatest musicals director of kind of my generation. Who saw that coming? Not me. The reason that I'm kind of throwing this out there and I wanted to do a bit of a blog on this is because last week, in lockdown, because there's nothing else to do, I'd finished all my jobs of the day, I thought that I would settle down to watch Jersey Boys. There they are, Jersey Boys. On film. Now, I've seen it on stage, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. It was probably one of my favourite shows. It's definitely top 10, definitely top 10. Just because it was a really interesting backstory, like the Jersey Boys, I will keep on calling them the Jersey Boys, but they're not, they're the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons had a really fascinating link with organised crime and the mob and being in debt to gangsters and kind of growing up in Jersey and all the things that entails. That was interesting in itself. The Four Seasons had some blinders, some absolute bangers of hits. You would not believe some of the songs that were in there that I did not even know by them. Begging is a cracker of a tune. I did not know that Bob Gaudio of the Four Seasons wrote Can't Take My Eyes Off You. My bulk of experience on that song before that had basically been Heath Ledger singing it in 10 Things I Hate About You, which, incidentally, you need to get on Disney Plus and have a watch of because I love that film, it's brilliant, and I love it when he sings that down the steps. But anyhow, the music was amazing, and there was a lot of, actual dialogue that told you the story. There was a lot of using their music to tell the story, and there was a lot of this is a performance of the Four Seasons on this, that and the other TV show, on this, that and the other stage. This is their lives on the road, chopping and changing through destinations, but this is their act. So I found it really, really interesting. Music was great, story was great, and it starred Simon Bailey, who, I'm a Rowell collector, let's be fair. I love him, and yeah, brilliant. And I met him at last year's West End Live, which I won't get to go to this year, so I won't have the opportunity to expand my Phantom Rowell collecting. But I met him and he was lovely. And he asked if he said, don't mind if I sweat on you, which I was like, cool bro, cool, do that. I feel like I've lost my train of thought talking about Simon Bailey sweating, but anywho. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it on stage, is the point I'm trying to make. And I really enjoyed the film, which was kind of weird for me, because I got the DVD in HMV in the bargain bin for about $2.99 or something like that, which I really like an HMV bargain bin. I bought The Heiress in an HMV bargain bin. That is one of my favourite films. It's stunning. I've done a blog on that, so check that out if you want to know my views on that. Yeah, I've got quite a few good films from there, so I thought, yeah, I'll bite. Why not? I like Jersey Boys. The worst that could happen is it turns out like that. Basically, isn't it? The worst that could happen is we've got another Les Mis on our hands. That's the worst case scenario. But we didn't. It was brilliant. And I was thinking about the reasons why I really enjoyed it, and I think the main reason is the fact that Clint Eastwood actually just went, this is a musical. I don't have to try and turn this into a film that just so happens to have music, or a film about the Four Seasons where I'm going to use their songs. I'm just going to shoot the musical, but in settings rather than on a stage. It's straightforward. Why don't more musical directors think like that? Why is that not the norm. You know, I love Les Mis on stage. I absolutely adore it. It's you know, it's one of my faves. 100%. I cry every time. It really gets to me. I've seen some amazing actors in the roles in Les Mis, so I've been really lucky to see some of these people and give a performance that I have. The film leaves me cold. And it shouldn't do, because Hugh Jackman is actually a proper piece of casting, and there's loads of West End stars in it. Like Hadley Fraser, Cillian Donnelly, Alistair Brammer, people that I really, really love, but I think it was the fact that Tom Hooper, directing Les Mis, tried to go, oh my god, let's make this crazy film where there's loads of action and loads of stuff going on, and the songs are there also. Clint Eastwood didn't do that. Clint Eastwood, he literally got the Broadway cast. The guy playing Frankie Valli won a Tony for playing him on Broadway. So, you know he's going to be good. You know he's going to be like Frankie Valli. You know he's going to have the voice for it. You know he's going to have the performance for it. And you know that he can just beast it out because he's doing it night after night after night after night and won awards for it. So why wouldn't you cast him as the lead in the Jersey Boys? Stands to reason. So I liked that they had the guts not to go for a big star. It would have been so easy to go, oh yeah, we've got this big star playing Frankie Valli, we've got this, that and the other person playing Bob Gaudio, we've got such and such person as Nick Messi, such and such person as Tommy DeVito. But they didn't. They just went, he played him on stage, he played him on stage, he played him on stage, and he played him on stage, get them back. Okay. And it really worked. And you know what? I read somewhere that they did the vocals live, which happened in that too. But it wasn't really the same because they weren't the stars that performed the roles night after night and knew the rhythm and how to play it and where to emphasise things. You know, they hadn't done it in front of an audience. They didn't know the reactions, if that makes sense. The guys in Jersey Boys had done it in front of an audience and knew where to have the emphasis to make the audience sit on the edge of the seat or sit back or take a breath or do whatever, because they'd seen it firsthand how it all worked. So they knew how to get a reaction out of the audience, even though they couldn't see the audience because we're at home on our sofas watching a DVD. So that really worked. That was a really brave piece of casting and a really brave decision to do it live. And I thought it was really a phenomenal choice. The other thing I liked about it was the fact that they weren't kind of ashamed to break the fourth wall. You know, a lot of musicals do kind of do it where there's an almost a little wink to the audience at different points, or you know, that people stand in such a way that the audience can see everything and you can see that they're thinking something while the other guy's looking over the other way or whatever, just to convey a bit of meaning and a bit of emotion behind a point. Jersey Boys does it in a slightly different way in that they directly address you as the audience. You know, there's a bit at the beginning where they all look at the audience and go, everybody remembers things in a different way. This is our version of what happened. This is my version is different to his version. His different to his version. Whatever. And they do that throughout the musical. They give you backstory. There's a bit where Joe Pesci introduces Bob Gaudio to the rest of the group. Like actual Joe Pesci. And you know damn well that everyone in the audience, when Joe Pesci comes on and says, I'm Joe Pesci, everyone's going, that one? And in the musical, Tommy DeVito looks at the audience and goes, yep, that Joe Pesci. And then like tells you a little bit about what he was like as a kid. And it'd have been so easy to kind of say, yeah, it's Joe Pesci, and have the audience go home and Google it afterwards. But they didn't. They kept the dialogue in, where Tommy DeVito looks straight down the camera lens and goes, yep, that one. And there was loads of bits like that where they kept looking over the shoulder and saying something to you as an audience member to give you a backstory about this is my memory of what occurred at this point. So there wasn't the need for clunky dialogue or clumsy exposition and things like that. They literally just did it like they did on stage. Because it works. So why would you muck about with that? I don't get it. And apparently neither does Clint Eastwood. He just went, nah, sod it, we're going to do it like it works. Fair play to the guy. Fair play to him. I really liked the ending as well. The end of Jersey Boys was them all on stage getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which actually happened, and they hadn't sung together for like 20 odd years. And Tommy DeVito was now on his uppers because he'd been the one that had like basically got into massive amounts of debt and just been a bit of a wrong un. He kind of came and said, "Yep, I'm now doing a bit of driving for Joe Pesci." That one, a driving through the old neighbourhood, and he says, "What do you remember about the old neighbourhood?" And I say, "Oh, I had a good time." And he goes, "Nah, you were a prick." And they kept all that in. The dialogue was almost identical, which I really liked. I really liked when Nick Massey said, we're a four-piece guy group, and you gotta know when you're Ringo. Because that's what he says in the musical, and everyone goes, "Fair dues, you are kind of the fourth one." There's a bit where they're all made up as the old ones going into the Hall of Fame, and then they kind of turn around and they're back young again in like the suits like you expect them to be while they do a bit of a medley. And I really enjoyed that. And the thing about a film is you get to have a big finish. A musical on stage you don't necessarily, because there's swings and casts that play like 4 or 5 different roles, so you kind of have to make a decision of who they come on as at the end, really, don't you? The best version of this I've ever seen is in Young Frankenstein, where the guy played, oh my god, he's like the military police guy with like the clunky arm and everything, and he also played the hermit, and he had like a quick change kind of finale. He came out like the hermit and pulled his thing down and he turned into the other one, and that was really cool. But in a film, obviously, you've got the budget for having a cast of literally thousands. And they did. So the finale was them singing "Oh What a Night" through the streets of Jersey, where you'd seen them earlier in the film growing up. And the whole cast came out, like Frankie's mum and dad, Frankie's 2 wives, his kids, everybody that he encountered, Joe Pesci, Jip DiCarlo, they all came out and danced on the street doing "Oh What a Night." And that was a really, really good ending. I really enjoyed that because it was just so joyful. And it's a big song. It's the one you want to hear. You know, Jersey Boys doing "Oh What a Night" is like the equivalent of the bit in "We Will Rock You" where you get Bohemian Rhapsody. It's the song you are waiting for. And what the film did is it cut it from earlier in the film. So in the musical, it's about probably halfway through. You know, it is when they're on tour and they do it, late December back in '63. They sing it then. But it took it out of the film, and I was like, oh my god, they can't do that. Until it got to the end and they did it as a big dance finale, and I was like, okay, that was a good choice. Fair enough. And I liked that they made a sensible choice in what they did. I liked that it was exactly like the musical on stage. And I just think it is one of the better stage to screen adaptations I've seen for that very reason. It doesn't try and muck about with it or make sense of it or try and bring people into a musical's world that don't understand a musical's world. You know, it is a very kind of, I guess, almost a specific place as such. This kind of alternate universe where it's totally fine to sing and dance your feelings and sing and dance exposition and burst into song and do all that kind of stuff. Jersey Boys gave almost an allowance for that to happen. A lot of musicals don't do that. They try and rationalise the fact that someone's going to start singing by making it either a performance when it doesn't need to be, or doing it almost as an afterthought. You know, one of my main issues with Phantom of the Opera as a film is that they speak some of the lyrics, because Phantom is pretty much sung all the way through. And in the film, it's like they go, we can't do that. We'll have them speak it. But it involves them speaking in rhyme, like you're trying to be Shakespearean, which also doesn't work. Jersey Boys didn't do any of that. They just went, works on stage. This is what people expect. People like this is a musical. People who watch this are going to be into musicals. Let's just make it as a musical. How is that not straightforward? I don't know why people get it wrong, to be honest with you. So, yeah, these are my findings from last week's foray into the world of musicals and musical films that I'd not seen before. I was going to do it as like I normally do, where I do like points of, oh, this is happening, that's happening, this is happening. But I got like kind of distracted just literally sitting and watching it, which I think tells you everything that you need to know. It's really gripping. If you think you don't like musicals, it's probably one of the ones that you should watch because you are thinking of everything that Les Mis or Phantom as films do wrong in trying to make it seem normal that all this is going on. Jersey Boys just goes, this is an act, this is a performance. I'm going to perform to you one-on-one and look down the camera and tell you what's going on, and then we're going to sing. Much more sensible. So basically, what I guess I'm saying here, and I can't believe I'm saying it, is that the man who starred in Paint Your Wagon, which is widely regarded as bloody awful, to be honest, got his brain in gear like 40 years later, made a good musical. Like, what's going on here? How does he get it better than other people? But you know what? When you got it right, you got it right. Stick with Jersey Boys. It's a blinder. Interesting story, good cast, good singing, catchy songs you don't even know about the 4 seasons but actually are and are brilliant. And you watch that film and come out of it not being on the side of Bob Gaudio, me and you are going to have words because I absolutely loved that fella at the end of that. I remember walking out of the theatre seeing it and going, I love Bob. Bob's a good egg. These are the things you will take from Jersey Boys. Watch it now.